to rip people off in bars, and it's been a consistent problem in the southern Mediterranean. Greek police raised the issue with local authorities at the start of this holiday season, especially at popular holiday islands, and demanded increased spot testing at bars and resorts. Difficult to know how you can avoid this when you're at a bar, other than always drink bottled drinks and make sure that they're sealed when you get them, and never leave your drinks unattended when you're up away dancing, because you never know what's going to happen. I'm not too sure what the outlook is for Hannah Powell, but hopefully, fingers crossed, something will improve, and if I hear any more, I will share it at a later show. And now in the travel news section, a bit of he says, she says stuff from Heathrow and Gatwick Airport. Both of them are trying their best to convince people who make decisions on such things that their airports will be the best ones to be expanded in the southeast to help sort out any problems with overcapacity in the southeast and in the UK in particular. However, my own personal view is the flights should be shared out around the UK, more flights from Manchester, Birmingham, Luton and Stansted instead of expanding Heathrow and Gatwick. But what do I know? One of the things that's always trotted out is that the people who come into the UK want to be in London without any inconvenience. But I always mention the fact I bought a Renault Clio. What's that got to do with businessmen flying into the UK? Well, my local dealer was Vauxhall, and it would have made much more sense to go to the Vauxhall dealer because I could get a taxi back home nice and cheap, or the train station's right next door. I could pop down to London, do a bit of shopping, then come back, collect my car. But I like the Clio so much that I bought a car from a place which is really out of the way from me. There's a real pain in the butt to get to and get from, so I had to hang around, wait for my car to be serviced. Taxi was far too experienced. But the product was right for me, so I went through the inconvenience. And if you're flying into the UK to purchase something, well, if it's the product you want, what's the inconvenience of getting a train from Manchester to wherever to see the company who's making the product for you? But that's just me. Anyway, enough of my feelings, my views on the subject. Let's get on with the press releases from the two airports. And the first one's going to be from Gatwick Airport. And it says that it's broken its own record for the number of passengers travelling on a single... it's broken its own record for the number of passengers travelling on a single runway. Gatwick's only got one runway, as you're probably aware. And now more than 42 million passengers travel through the airport each year. With 4.8 million passengers travelling through Gatwick in August, which is 5.7% up on last year, Gatwick's expansion plans have also been boosted by significant political and business support over the summer. So they say. Also on the increases, long-haul routes from the airport have grown 25% against August last year, with North Atlantic routes driving this growth up by 51%. There was 96% more Vancouver routes, Montreal was up 63%, and LA was up 51%. Long-haul summer destinations proved popular, including the Cape Verde Islands, Turk and Caicos, and Aruba, all up significant amounts. And there's also been a growth from short-haul summer destinations as well, including Spain and Gibraltar. Also, flights to Ireland increased as well, and the Channel Islands, so everything is up. And the load factors, which are consistently around 91%, says the airport. The airport's chief financial officer, Nick Dunn, said, "Politically, economically, environmentally, the case for Gatwick expansion has never been stronger. We're expansion ready, with this summer our busiest ever, and the results of our increased investment attracting new airlines, including Cathay Pacific's new route to Hong Kong. Gatwick expansion would secure the same number of new routes and economic benefit Britain needs can be delivered faster, with dramatically lower environmental impacts, and without $5 billion of taxpayer funding Heathrow would require for surface access improvements." He went on to say that momentum is with Gatwick as business leaders and politicians continue to unite behind us. Post-referendum, Britain needs certainty. Gatwick's straightforward scheme can be promptly delivered, and it makes it the only choice. Well, they would say that anyway, wouldn't they? So anyway, there's a bit more information. Gatwick is the second largest airport in the UK, and is claimed to be the most efficient single runway airport in the world. It serves more than 220 destinations in 80 countries, and as I say, there's been over 41 million passengers in the last year. It is also a major economic driver for the South East region, generating around 21,000 on-airport jobs and a further 10,000 jobs through related activities. The airport is south of central London. It has excellent public transport links, including Gatwick Express, and is now part of the Oyster contactless payment network. The actual airport itself is owned by international investment funds, and the largest shareholder is called Global Infrastructure Partners. So that's Gatwick's say on the expansion at the moment. What about Heathrow? Well, in economic consultancy, the Centre for Economic and Business Research, and CEBR, said that Heathrow's connectivity and cargo capacity means the expanded airport will be the engine of Brexit growth, driving opportunity up and down the UK. The report concludes that following the Brexit vote, if the Prime Minister opts for Gatwick, it could be a political and economic gamble that could be costly for decades. The report used the government's own Independent Airports Commission figures and says that Heathrow expansion could boost the UK economy by as much as £24,500 of GDP per family, which is $11,195 more than the equivalent figure for Gatwick. Only Heathrow expansion has the potential to create over 100,000 new jobs outside London and the South East. Up to £56 billion more GDP created outside London with Heathrow expansion compared to Gatwick. Heathrow could add 50,000 more jobs than Gatwick in the short term and almost 100,000 more than Gatwick in the long term. And only tax revenues following Heathrow expansion could fund a VAT cut to 15%. That's probably going to catch everybody's ear. The chief economic advisor for CEBR, Vicky Price, said that airport expansion has been a thorny issue for governments for every political hue. What this analysis shows is the centrality of Heathrow to the UK economy. And Heathrow chief executive said, Heathrow connects cargo and people from all over Britain to new markets around the world. Gatwick mainly connects London and southern England to European destinations. This report says that expanding Heathrow will strengthen the airport that works for the whole of the UK, not just for London and the south. What do you think? That's my phone going off in the background if you wonder what the noise was. Do you vote for Gatwick? Do you vote for Heathrow? Do you vote for less flying? Do you vote for spreading it around the UK? Please do share your views on airport expansion at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. You can follow me on Twitter at holiday_hut. I'm running through some travel news now on the John Guinn Travel Show on UK Health Radio. And now for some Wi-Fi from a survey from a company which is obviously trying to promote the company. But the information is interesting, so I'm going to share it anyway. For an increasingly connected world, access to Wi-Fi is often vital for those who wish to stay productive or entertained on their travels. With this in mind, Airport Hotel and Parking, APH, has created a guide for comparing Wi-Fi and connection offerings on board airlines to help travellers plan ahead. The research can also be found at the Know Before You Go section at the APH website at aph.com/airline Wi-Fi. Of the 23 airlines researched, 12 provide Wi-Fi, including Aer Lingus, KLM and Norwegian Air Shuttle. Passengers should keep in mind that for safety reasons, Wi-Fi is activated once the aircraft is 10,000 feet in the air, and that Wi-Fi is not yet available when flying on board select aircraft, including the Airbus A330 with Emirates and all international long-haul flights with Norwegian Air Shuttle. The cost for accessing the plane's Wi-Fi varies from £4 for an hour access on Air Calendar and Finnair to £15 for the flight duration access when travelling internationally with American Airlines. Of the 12 airlines offering Wi-Fi on board, 3 charge passengers according to the quantity of data used, including Virgin Atlantic, which charges a whopping $14.99 for 150 megabits of data, and KLM, which charges £8 for 40 megabits, or £17 for 120, so I guess Virgin's not that expensive after all. Conversely, JetBlue and Norwegian Air Shuttle are two airlines offering complimentary Wi-Fi for all passengers on selected flights, while three airlines provide complimentary Wi-Fi access to passengers travelling in business and first class cabins, including those in the Saga class cabin on board Iceland Air flights. For frequent flyers, three of the airlines researched offer monthly or annual Wi-Fi subscription plans, with the cost varying from £38 per month with Delta Airlines to £535 per year with Air Canada. Passengers should keep in mind that the subscription plan will automatically review at the end of each period, regardless of whether the Wi-Fi is accessed, until the contract is terminated. Very sneaky. To avoid disturbing fellow passengers with loud phone calls, two of the airline research do not permit access to voice services through the onboard Wi-Fi, and passengers travelling with Qatar Airways are reminded to keep their electronic devices on vibrate or in silent modes. Although 11 of the airlines researched, including BA, Ryanair and EasyJet, do not yet provide Wi-Fi access in the air, two carriers do provide apps to allow passengers to live stream in-flight entertainment to their personal device. These apps include the M-Player app with Monarch at $3.99 and the Qantas Entertainment app. Similarly, four airlines, including Qatar and Emirates, give passengers the option to connect to a mobile network should they wish to send texts, make calls, and access the internet on board at standard roaming charges. For travellers looking to work online, browse the web or stream entertainment through Wi-Fi prior to departure, the Airport Parking and Hotels APH has put together a guide comparing Wi-Fi facilities at UK's major airports, including Luton, Heathrow, Manchester and Edinburgh. The guide can be accessed at www.aph.com/community/holidays/y-5-3-time-costs-UK-airports-lights-cat-wick-and-Manchester. What a catchy address that is. But anyway, the web address will be at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And it's pretty much similar to a survey I did myself a couple of years ago. I'm sure things have changed. I am going to struggle when I got to go to Antigua without Wi-Fi, without the internet. It's going to be really bad for the 7 hours I'm in the air. I don't think I'm going to pay £15 because I don't think 150 megabits is going to be enough for me. What about you? Do you struggle with your flights without access to the internet? Do you miss your connectivity of your smartphone when you're up at 10,000 feet, 20,000 feet, or whatever? Please do let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Well, that's the end of this week's show. I hope you found the information on the Faroe Islands interesting. It's up there on my list of places to go. I know I say that a lot, but every time I interview people for my show, it's always another destination I need to go and visit myself. As I said earlier, if you've been to the islands, please do share your stories at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And I do hope you can join me next time on the Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com, where each week I'm checking it out before you check in.